as we speak, the team are currently training in the AEK stadium in Athens, a stadium that holds 32,000 fans. It's the third largest stadium in Greece. It's just located in the northwest of Athens. It was only opened 3 years ago, and it will host Aberdeen. 17:45 kickoff tomorrow in the UK. It's match day number 2 in the Conference League. Hello everybody, how are you doing? A very warm welcome to Ali Beg ABTV this Wednesday night ahead of our huge Conference League game tomorrow in Athens. I'm going to bring you right up to speed. I have basically breaking news for you. So, the manager has just literally given his press conference in the stadium. They were late due to the very heavy traffic, which is notorious in Athens. And it's my understanding, I'm not 100% sure whether this is still true or not, but I think if you are very late and you go over your stipulated time, you get fined by UEFA. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think that's what the criteria is. Thankfully, they made it in time. I can tell you that Emmanuel Gyamfi and Siva Hilta Nielsen are both missing. They have not made the squad. Gyamfi has a hamstring injury, which Jimmy has told us that the medical team are currently looking at. This is what he had to say about the game. So he said, we need to keep building on results we're having in the league. We know the thin margins. Mistakes will get punished. Jimmy knows a really strong performance is required. On them, he said this. He spoke of AEK's threat up front, saying it will be very challenging for us. So as we speak, the team are currently training in the stadium. So tonight, come and have your say. I know that lots and lots and lots of fans have already made the trip to Athens. Really enjoyed looking through all the socials today, seeing all the pictures, the odd video here and there. So for all of you who have travelled, please be safe. Now, the Aberdeen SLO has just recently, the supporter liaison officer, has just recently tweeted that a wallet has been stolen and a bag has been stolen. So she's asking for you guys to be on your guard and be careful over there. So please stay safe. I really hope you all have an absolutely brilliant time. So tonight, come on, have your say. I'm going to give you the team that I think will start tomorrow night's game. We've got a soundbite from the skipper, and a little bit later I'm going to be reintroducing to the show sports and exercise psychologist Don Vasey. So what Don and I have spoken about is the topic of momentum, because we've now built up a little steam of momentum, and what I'm hoping, or what we're all hoping, is that they take that into tomorrow night's game as well. So Don and I have spoken about momentum, and I hope you find it really interesting, because it's not just about taking it into football, but you can apply it to life in general, and if you play any other sport apart from football. So that's going to come up a little bit later. So get in touch and I'll read your comments out very shortly. Okay, so here's the team. I've gone with a flat back 5. 4 in the middle, 1 up front. So I'm going to start with Alfie, Nicky, Jack, Matt and Gavin Malloy left back. In the middle, Stuart Armstrong, to be partnered by Ante Palaversa. Just to the right of Ante, I'm going to go with Adil Ashish. I think this type of game suits him. On the left, Jesper Karlsson had to start, and he had to start. I toyed with it, but I thought Marco has to start after the way he performed when he came on against St Mirren. We need his physical presence up top. We need him to be busy. We need him to completely and utterly disrupt the AEK backline, because they are vulnerable at the back. Here's your match stats. So they come into the game having only lost once at home in their last 8 matches. The Greek side have only lost twice in their last 16 games, but they did get beat at the weekend. They currently sit 3rd in the Greek Super League after 7 games. In their most recent match on Sunday night, they lost 2-0 to league leaders Pauk. Now, Aberdeen come into this game having just secured their first back-to-back clean sheets since last August. At this juncture, just let me gently remind you that Ali Beg ABTV is brought to you and supported by Saltire Energy, the global market leader in specialist drilling equipment rental. But not just that, there are their services: rentals, torquing, testing, refurbishment and welding. My thanks to everybody at Saltire for their continued support here on Ali Beg ABTV. Right, so I'll just get rid of a couple of pieces there. Right, so what I'll do now is I'll just open it up. And I'll get your thoughts on. I watched today Marko Nikolic, who is the manager of AEK, give his press conference. And he sat beside James Penrice, former Hearts fullback, who signed back in the summer. Marko, the manager, has also been with AEK since the summer. He's got a win percentage rate of 62.5% so far. He was very complimentary about Aberdeen. Just let me give you a couple of bits and pieces that he said, a couple of quotes. He said that Aberdeen are very famous traditional club in Europe with amazing fans. He said he knows Aberdeen have structure and good game style. They will show us every respect, he said. As in, AEK will show Aberdeen every respect. He went on to say the importance of picking up points at home if AEK want to progress to the next round. And he has prepared his team to think that this is a knockout game. He wants to put that pressure on his players, because he basically said, if you can't cope with pressure, then you shouldn't be playing professional football. He appreciates that there's 4 more games to come, but he wants his players to go into tomorrow night's game with the attitude that this is a knockout game. Don't forget that we sit in 21st place. AEK are 27th after losing to Teselja from Slovenia, who beat them 3-1 last time out, despite AEK taking the lead. Right, let's just grab you guys for a few thoughts, and then we will get the skipper on and Dawn. Okay, so hello Ali, big game tomorrow in Athens. Hopefully we can get the result over the line for all the travelling fans tomorrow night. Feeling slightly confident for a result tomorrow, says Cameron Young. Colin Gale says, it's going to be difficult tomorrow, but all I ask is that the team give their all and don't show the Greeks too much respect. Hopefully no injuries for the important game against Hibs. David Horn is on, wishing you a good evening, as is Lorraine Baxter. Lorraine, how are you? So Graham has just come on and asked, has there been any updates on who is fit for tomorrow Sunday? So if you were with us at the top, Graham, you would have heard us saying Gyamfi and Nielsen. Oh, Rick McBain. How you doing, Rick? Rick is over in Athens. Good man, Rick. Have a brilliant time, mate. Oh man, I would love to have made that trip. Barry Cool is here, wishing you all a good evening. Graham Gibb came back to say Gyamfi is a big miss. Had a bad time with injury since he's joined us. Lorraine came back on to say, have a right good go tomorrow night. Get into them from the kickoff. That's all we ask. Majestic Europe is here. He says, hi from an AEK fan. Hi, Majestic Europe. Thank you for tuning in. Hope you enjoy the show. Barry Cole says, we will take a draw, but feel that we can win it. West Coast Dawn is asking how you're all doing. Graham Gibb, you're quite right. Ashish will be lucky to be in the first team after an ineffective game on Saturday, he says. But as I said, I just think this type of game suits him. Lorraine Baxter says, I think Graham will start. As captain, I can't see him being left out. So, talking about the skipper, he spoke to the club's in-house TV channel just before the plane flew from Dice this morning.
Love these trips. I think when you play in Scotland for so long, you get used to playing against teams quite a lot during the season. So I think the European games give you something different. They're travelling the day before. We'll train at the stadium tonight. Different climate, a bit warmer over there. And the games are always different to what Scottish football is, European kind of style and games that we love. So, absolutely love these games. I'm really grateful that I'm still involved in games like this, and yeah, can't wait.
Thank you, Skipper. He appears in buoyant mood. Let's not forget that Ali Beg ABTV is brought to you and supported by Craig International, who are at the forefront of global procurement with offices all over the world to serve all your procurement needs. They're in Canada, they are in America, they're also on the European continent in Hamburg. Home office is based in Aberdeen. They're also in the Middle East in Qatar, Dubai and Oman. They also service the Far East in Singapore and Australia, where business is currently doing really, really well. They're going to be in Abu Dhabi at one of the big oil conferences very soon, which I'll bring details to you very soon. If you're in that part of the world, I suggest you get yourself along to the big exhibition and go and say hi to the guys, because a number of their senior staff are going to Abu Dhabi. Right, let's get back to it. Gordon Keith Ritchie says, good evening all. Tomorrow will be hard, but nothing to lose. Just have a go, see where it takes us. Robert Fowler says, AEK, definitely beatable by the sounds of it. West Coast Dawn said, a win for us is a massive sign of improvement, but a draw I would take in a heartbeat. Just with our preferred left wing back was fit. Yeah. Tobers, as in Christopher Tobers, yeah. Patrick Doherty says, I believe the boys can come away with a result tomorrow. Best of luck to all the boys and girls from Sterling Reds that are over there. Sing loud, sing proud. Oh, brilliant. Have a fantastic time, guys. Philip Palmer says, as they show no fear and go out, have some fun. Bit of luck, and we can get there. Majestic Europe, our AEK friends, he's just said, don't forget that AEK eliminated Anderlecht, dominating them in the second game here in Athens. Definitely we're not in good form, but our players need to stop being passive and soft. Interesting fella. Thank you for giving us that. I don't know what you think about this, Majestic Europe, but this is the guy that I think that we need to look out for tomorrow night. Luka Jovic. Serbian international with just about 50 caps, 27 years old, plays as a striker. He's only scored the one goal this season and he's not actually had any assists, but he's the type of player that can turn a game on its head in the flash of an eye. If you look at the duels won, particularly aerial duels there, he's very strong in the air. So, our centre-backs, Alfie, Jack, Mats, whoever's going to be sort of looking after their forward players, going to have to show a lot of strength because he could be pivotal tomorrow night. So, right, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get Don on, and then I'll come back to you guys in just a moment. So, if you've not seen Don before, Don is a sports and exercise psychologist, huge Aberdeen fan, and because we've obviously done well in the past couple of games, we've now just started to build a little bit of momentum, which we're all hoping we will take into tomorrow night's game. So what Don has done is basically given us more details about how important momentum is and what he thinks the team need to do, not just the team, but anybody in any sort of walks of life need to do to maintain momentum. I really hope you enjoy this. Don Vasey. Hi Don, it's really good to see you again. Thank you so much once again for taking the time to come on and talk to us. So, 2 wins out of 2. Wow. 2 clean sheets for the first time since last August. Brilliant. There is an argument to say now ahead of the game against AEK that we're kind of building momentum, and that's what we want to talk about today. So just explain what we're going to talk about.
Yeah, so momentum, every fan talks about it, coaches talk about it, pundits talk about it. Well, I think they've got a bit of momentum behind them, but what is it? What is it? Well, it's not luck, it's not even magic. It's about rhythm, it's about confidence, it's about control in the game, between games, and it's what happens when effort, energy, belief starts coming together, syncing between players, coaches, fans, right? You can feel it in the stadium, even when you're in the away support, passes stick, tackles bite, crowd lift, the wave I like to call it a wave, use a wave as a metaphor. The wave builds, right? So that's kind of where we're going with describing momentum today. Okay. The psychology part behind all of it. So sports psychology, momentum is about perceived control. Whether or not you have control is not the point. It's about, do you feel like you have control? We're dictating the game. So again, another term used by pundits, we dictated the game today, right? So it's emotional, of course it is, it's football. It's cognitive, so it's in here, and it's physical, tackles and movement, all that sort of stuff. So a good moment creates that belief. Belief shapes behavior. Behavior reinforces performance, right? But the wave, as we all know, the wave can break. And when it breaks, emotions take over, you lose momentum, frustration replaces focus, you get a yellow card, you give away a silly free kick or a penalty, all that sort of stuff, and the momentum shifts, right? So the wave, the momentum, who owns the wave, right? So again, this is another idea that I want to try and get across to our viewers. So who owns this wave? Who owns that momentum? How does it build, right? Everyone owns the wave, right? The players absolutely build it through their actions, being composed on the ball, off the ball, not giving away that free kick. Coaches, right, shape it through setting standards, calm under pressure. And I think we can all agree that Jimmy is very calm under pressure, right? So brilliant there, right? Fans, us, you guys, all the supporters, you feed that momentum through energy, belief, noise, the rhythm in the stadium, right? So momentum isn't just on the pitch, it's off it, it's in the stadium, sidelines, social media, right? It's a shared rhythm between the team and the community around it. So we're going to look at this wave in action together, okay?
So the wave in action, what you've done is you've broken it down into three little sections. Can you just take us through it, please?
Yes. So we're going to break it down into in the game, which is I call ride the wave. So we'll start there. The psychology of the moment, right? So in the game, it's about reactions. How do you make that tackle, pass, shot? How do you react to it? If someone's attacking you, how do you react to it? So small wins help build that pressure on the opponent. Strong tackle, great goal, second ball won, great crossfield pass, right? We see that. So that crossfield pass, was it Palaversa to Lazetic? Oh, great ball, but also that great control, right? When that tide turns against you, because you don't dictate momentum for the whole of the game. When that tide turns against you, you reset, you refocus, breathe, calm voices on the pitch, your captains, all that sort of stuff. One calm head, you can shift the flow again, right? So the captain's settling everything down, or the leaders on the pitch settling it down. So momentum isn't luck. It's about control in the moment, in the motion. So that's the psychology of the moment in the game, riding that wave, right? Then the next sort of step, the next layer is to keep the wave moving. So it's kind of where we're at now, kind of between games, between game 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Definitely. From game to game, you have to keep that rhythm and consistency. Set your standard, compete hard, stay composed, right? Keep that belief flowing. You work hard in training. You don't have to win every match, things are outside your control, but just protect the identity and the standards that you're setting. Right? Compete. You want to compete, right? That's how form becomes confidence. Confidence becomes the culture of the club, right? So that's between games, between game 1 and 2, between game 2 and 3, and so on. And so you need to keep that wave moving, right? That's the psychology of form. Bigger picture, the next step, the wave continues, the psychology of progress, right? So reflect after the final whistle between games. What did they do well? Did the standards travel, right? Did they travel between games? So you might have home, away, or in this case, away, right? You might not be expected to win. I mean, obviously we hope we do win against the AEK, but you might not be expected to win, but hey, you can still take your standards with you and compete. So the standards travel. Do you try and stay in control as much as you can? Keep that constant. Grow the belief in each other in the process, right? Momentum isn't built on scorelines. It's built on the standards that we set on and off the pitch together, okay? So that's the three layers. Ride the wave, keep the wave moving, and the wave continues. So that's momentum in psychology applied to football and obviously Aberdeen.
Don, I think it'd be really interesting to see, God forbid, if the result does go against us, if they're able to reset after
Yeah,
tomorrow night. Because obviously we've got a huge game coming up on Sunday now against
yeah,
Hibs. And what's really interesting already is that a lot of folk are suggesting that that game is more important than tomorrow night's game. Hence why some people are suggesting that we play, I don't like using the term a weakened side, but playing a side that will maybe suit looking ahead to Sunday's game. So the momentum, even if we lose, should really still kick in after Thursday's game. Is that right?
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So every club goes through waves, ups and downs, but good ones, great ones, learn to ride it, not
Yeah.
fight against it, right? So the
Yeah.
challenge for Aberdeen is to keep that wave moving.
Yeah.
We can compete against anyone. We might not win against everyone, but we can compete against everyone. Stay composed when you're riding the wave, or even when the wave breaks. Super important. Feed that wave through belief and togetherness, right? That's key. Okay, so everyone is setting the stand. If everyone's setting the standards and living up to those high standards, the team you put out, in all essence, it shouldn't matter.
Yeah, yeah, completely. I think all we can ask for tomorrow night, Don, is that we just compete. That's all we ask for. Just
100%.
compete. Yeah.
100%.
Fella, listen, it's been absolutely fantastic, as always. Thank you so much for taking the time to come on. And we're going to see you
Pleasure.
again very soon.
Definitely. Pleasure.
Brilliant. Thank you, Don.
Thank you.
Bye, mate. Thank you so much, Don. Quipco International, they also sponsor Alibeg ABTV. They service the oil and gas industry based out in Abu Dhabi, a manufacture and repair company. There's just a few of the services they offer and just a handful of the products that they offer as well. So if you want to find out more, go to their website, www.quipco.com. All the services and products are on their website. But as per normal, if you are looking for any sort of services and you wish to come via me, feel free and I'll put you in touch with the guys at Quipco. Right, let's get back to your comments. So, gosh, there's a lot more comments coming. Hang on, where are we? John Kylo says, let's not beat around the bush. AEK and the other top Greek teams can sign players every Scottish team could dream about. Their centre forward sold for 60 million a few years ago. West Coast Dawn said, I think Euro footy should suit some of our foreigners better than Scottish footy. Graham Gibbs says, the game against PAOK away should stand us in good stead. Similar performance will be dandy, he says. Paul Hannon is here. How are we doing, Paul? Good evening to everybody that's travelled or are travelling. Let's be safe and enjoy. Let's hope the Dandies do all the talking on the pitch, he says. Neil Sinclair says, good evening, Dandies. Looking forward to tomorrow's game. Hard game, but we have a good team, so we could go toe-to-toe with them. Majestic Europe says, in terms of Luka Jovic, he doesn't think that he's going to be playing. He said there's a tiny chance that he could play. He's already missed 90 minutes in the last game, and we need him in the next game against Olympiacos. West Coast Dawn says, Lazatic is our front boy for Europe. Majestic Europe is answering some of your questions. Thank you, mate. This is really good of you. He said, if our players keep being weak-minded and keep being shocked after conceding a goal, you have a pretty good chance to walk away with a point if you manage to get the lead. Good days. Interesting. John Kylo said, I think if we draw tomorrow, it will be like winning the lottery. Graham Gibbs says, to be honest, if I had a choice, I would rather beat Hibs on Sunday. West Coast Dawn says, if Yeti masterminds a win, I'm sure all fans will be back on board with his vision. Agreed. John Kylo says, AEK with the pot 4 team no one wanted. Aberdeen, the pot 4 team everyone wanted. It's going to be hard. We need to play for 90 minutes, which we tend not to do. It's a good point. The Mad Ferret says, come on, Dandies. I have a sneaky feeling we're going to beat them tomorrow. West Coast Dawn says, beating Hibs is what I want to see. Euro footy does have its obvious benefits. A few of you have come on and talking about James Penrice. John said Penrice was one of the best players in the SPFL last season. Majestic Europe came back and said, true, but the coach doesn't really trust him against dangerous teams. He doesn't really trust his defensive abilities. That's interesting, because I actually did wonder if he would maybe start the game for AEK tomorrow night, Majestic, because obviously his natural tie-in with the Scottish game, knowing what Aberdeen are all about. He sat beside the manager in the press conference today, and he basically said, one of the lines that he said was, Aberdeen have the quality to hurt us. We need to be aware of that, James Penrice said. Neil Sinclair, really enjoyed the chat with Don. Thank you, mate. David McLennan says, I think it's an error to weigh domestic above Europe. Need to try to win every game. David Swinton says, just feel after watching Celtic and Hearts at the weekend, we can be on current form the best team in the country. No doubt we'll get another roaster of a ref and the VAR refs. We seem to be magnets for them. I did have some information about those referees. Let me give it to you. I took some notes down about them. Hang on. So you saw it in the match stats. Jasper Vergoet is his name. He's Belgian. All the officials are Belgian tomorrow. He's 33 years old. In the 10 games so far that he's reffed, he's brandished an astonishing 47 yellow cards, 5 reds, and he's awarded a remarkable 9 penalties so far, including 4 in one game this season. Unbelievable. West Coast Dawn said, Hearts will drop off. That's what DM says. DM had a free run without several of our bigger clubs missing and won 1 cup, which was a poor watch. Hearts will hit a dip. Graham Gibbs says, hopefully we can see the real Carlson tomorrow. Should benefit from not being up against hammer throwers. Right, that's just about all your comments that have come in. But just let me gently remind you about our day in history on the 20th of October. Who will ever forget back in 1989 at the 3rd attempt, after losing narrowly in 1987 on penalties, then an astonishing game in 1988, which we lost right at the death, and then, third time lucky, in 1989, Aberdeen beat Rangers 2-1 after extra time to win the Skull Cup. Paul Mason's goals won it for the Dons. And interestingly enough, that proved to be the last time that Willie Miller, as Aberdeen captain, lifted silverware. Trust me, because I was there, it was an absolutely unbelievable day. Went down with all my pals from the village. Newborough had an absolutely incredible day. A day, I think, for any Aberdeen fan that was there, we will never forget. 1980. I don't know if you were there or not. Some very famous pictures doing the rounds of the crowds trying to get in. Trying to get tickets for the game against Liverpool, which was played on this day back in 1980. So we welcome the English champions to Pittodrie for a European Cup second round first leg tie. Terry McDermott's goal in 5 minutes proved to be the only goal of the game. Unfortunately, we got absolutely smashed in the second leg at Anfield. What I also remember about that night was John McMaster suffered a horrific injury after an absolutely appalling tackle during the game that put him out for many, many months. In fact, it nearly put him out the game full stop. It was an absolutely horrific challenge. But as we know, John recovered and he went on to have a fantastic career with the Dons. That's what I was going to say. That's just popped into my head. So the crowds that tried to get tickets for that game couldn't get tickets because there was a lot of people that just wanted to go and watch Liverpool, because obviously it was a big draw. It really was a big draw to go and watch that game. So a lot of folk that worked in the city that didn't particularly go to the football matches, a lot of people in the oil industry, foreigners, people that had come up from England to work in the oil industry, moved to Aberdeen but didn't particularly go to football, decided they wanted to go and watch Liverpool. So a lot of your normal punters didn't get tickets, and that's when Aberdeen decided to start the voucher system. to make sure that loyal fans were able to get tickets for big European games. That's when the voucher system came in after that game. Just before we finish off, guys, don't forget, please like tonight's show. It really helps with the algorithm. Thank you for all the comments as always. I'll just check in to see if there's any more before we finish off. And please, consider subscribing. I know I say it every single time, but we have quite a high percentage of people that watch that don't actually subscribe to the channel. So don't forget, it doesn't cost anything. It's completely and utterly free. All you're basically doing is you're just following the channel, very much like what you would be doing following people on Instagram, Facebook, X, you name it. That's how it works. So we're motoring towards 4,800 now. And then obviously the next step after that would be to get to 4,900 and then the big one, 5,000. Right, let's just see if there's any last comments come in before we close off tonight. Neil Sinclair said, thanks to Majestic Europe for your comments and insights. Very much appreciated. Yes, mate. Thank you so much for coming on, Majestic. Absolutely brilliant, mate. And you never know, we might see you on Friday night for the review show. Graham Gibbs says, in reference to that Liverpool game, they also said they really like Strachan and were considering a bid. Played havoc with a wee man's napper. Yeah, interesting. John Kylo says, I went to Pittodrie about 9 a.m. to get tickets and they were all gone. Really? From at 9 a.m.? Whoa, that's mad. Graham Gibb. Yes, it was, mate. I didn't want to mention any names, but you're quite right. It was. Noel Blaha says, my dad spent the night outside Pittodrie to get his Liverpool tickets. Did he get them, Noel? John Kylo is asking, is Jensen still suspended? I don't think he is. I think he only serves one game. I think. West Coast Dawn said, sounds like that ref had a few coupons on. Colin Gale is asking, with Gyamfi injured, perhaps time to include Frame in the domestic squad. Yeah, so don't forget that we can only name so many players in the squad, and Mitchell was not named in the original Europa League squad. So if Gyamfi is a long-term injury worry, then you are actually allowed to drop him out and bring a player in. So they might just have to do that, Colin. Right, guys, we are all done because we've done just over half an hour. So thank you so much, as always, for coming on. Hope you enjoyed the show. We'll be back on Friday night. Don't forget, Andrew Budge, unfortunately, is still away on holiday, so there won't be any sort of insightful analysis. Don't forget that the game is not on Red TV International tomorrow night because of UEFA broadcasting laws. So check out your local listings wherever you live to see if the game is live. Trust me, I've been going nuts trying to find the game over here in Austria tomorrow night. Yeah, still looking. So thanks for being with us. Good luck to the boys tomorrow. Good luck, good luck, good luck, good luck, good luck. Take care. Bye for now. Stand free.